Americans were kind of invisible to everybody, and like I've told you guys before, the people that were here are totally unlike anybody else in the world. And it's like we were holding down the energy grid. But people started partaking of stuff that was not acceptable that screwed up the global grid. And that was fine, and the Americans were still invisible, but what took place is when the brothers came over here from place in Africa first, you know, you had a faction that came, and you had another faction that came, but there was a faction that came over here with this, practicing this Moloch Aminism worship, these sacrifices. Now, I don't know if they were too inbred, or if they were part bred, or if they were part invader, whatever the case may be, but they came over, and they made it real clear that they didn't want the people, the niggas they found here in South America, south of the border, where the step pyramids are, they didn't want the people that they found here, the copper-colored people here, to know what they were doing. Because the people here, they knew would have had a problem with this type of behavior. So what happened is when they got over here and they started practicing these rituals, that created a hole or a rift in the astral cloak of the Americas. And once the rift took place in the astral grid of the Americas, that just kind of opened up like a light tower, like a beacon that went light, hey, and it's like, hey, what's that over there? Once you create a rift in your astral or your aura, you open the way for anything and everybody to step into it, and that's what we're dealing with now. And it's no problem, cool, fine, everybody's here. You know, our people are very loving and giving people. But prime example, I can't think of the name of this show. There's a show, and I don't watch it, but I've heard about it, that comes on, and I wish Lady Linda was still on the line because she would know the name of this show. There's some show that comes on that's a reality show. And I'm talking about the heroes of the world that are the brothers. They've always been the heroes of the world, and they've always had, at least in the Americas, that's why a lot of our cultures were matriarchal. They always had the sister in her proper place. Now they crazy as hell. They don't give a damn about the sister now. But before all the nonsense, they always had the sister in her proper place. And even to this day, the sister, unlike most women in most cultures, are not controlled by the men. You know what I'm saying? Most women in most cultures, you have to come back when my husband is home. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't deal with you because my husband's not here. They better not open their mouth and say anything without approval from their husbands. However, the brothers that everybody's so damn afraid of, that everybody thinks are the gangsters, the thugs, the rapists, the killers, the robbers, the pillagers, the plunderers, and the thieves, which they're not. Everybody that came here fits these descriptions. They're the cannibals. No, everybody that came here fits these descriptions. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people that came here fits these descriptions. However, in this particular reality show, they can show a situation. My sister was telling me about one in particular that she was watching, and they had this reality camera, and they were showing some cat getting beat up mercilessly, and all these people just walking by and Europeans walking by acting like they don't see anything, walking by not getting involved. And then a European came along, a European man came along. He went into a business where I guess he knew who worked in this business. He went into this business, got a brother that was at work on the job. The brother came, now you're a man yourself. You go get another man. You go get the hero to come out here and deal with. It was like 3 or 4 cats jumping on one cat. This brother came out there by himself with this European next to him, had nothing to say, and he intervened in behalf of this guy that was getting jumped on. And then there was another. You saw that?
Yeah, that was Dateline. Yeah, it was called Dateline. What Would You Do? It was it was a series that was on Channel 7 to see what people would do in like a situation where they would have to help.
Okay, now in this what would you do scenario, I don't watch it. I've never seen it, but I know people that have. And 9 times out of 10, they will do this, what would you do? And people, I don't care if you walking off with somebody screaming, baby, going, you ain't my daddy, this ain't my daddy, and people just walk by and they don't have these Europeans, these so-called white folks that are supposed to be the pillars of the world, have nothing to say, nothing. They don't intervene, they don't speak up. Every now and then a European female will say something, but 90% of the time, that's what they call a Jewish female. The same people y'all always hating on, the damn Jews and the damn niggers, you're always hating. Absolve me, you guys. The so-called Jews and so-called black folks, everybody's always hating on us, but we're the people that always come and try to intervene. I remember seeing one show one day where a sister was in a store, and it was a reality show, and she hadn't done anything. And the people in the store started acting all racist and clowning on her and disrespecting her and accusing her of doing things she hadn't done. And all the Europeans were like, yeah, he, too, ha, ha, you know, on this whole, yeah, we white thing. And the only people that had anything to say in her defense were a couple of Jewish females. You see what I'm saying? So the heroes of the world are the people that seem to be the most hated people of the world. Now, these other people that are doing this other stuff, I don't know what they are. I seriously don't. I'm beginning to think they're really these damn Neanderthals. These Ashkenaz people that are doing this crazy stuff, I think they're really Neanderthals. And these other people have grown so far away from it, despite what they look like. They might look like them, but they ain't them. Because if you ain't on that shit, you ain't them. But there was another one, like I was saying, where some cat was walking off with a little child, and it was part of this what would you do type of thing, and the baby was screaming and hitting the man going, let me go, you're not my daddy, let me go, you're not my daddy. White people just walking by, they don't have nothing to say, but y'all they the pillars of society, though. They the greatest of the world. The only person that had anything to say that would have even made any effort to intervene was a brother or two. In other words, it's always my brothers that are heroes for everybody, and we're always dying, and you know, that's just our nature. That's just y'all's nature. I don't like the fact that they always put y'all in these science fiction movies, and brothers come to save everybody, and brothers always the first ones murdered, because that's some bull, too. Brothers are the last ones murdered in the real world. But as far as that goes, I don't remember about the loss of information about what you guys are supposed to do, but the brothers have re-entered the world at this time to fight for the turf. But you can't fight for the turf when the very people you are here to protect keep their foot on your damn neck all the time. Now, the other question that you had asked, and I've kind of lost sight of it. What was the other question you asked me?
No, I just asked, you know, kind of on the same level, like, you know, because I know you have a kind of a direct contact with the spirit realm, if you would call it, and I was just asking what are they saying, because you know, about the situation where, you know, we got the foot on our neck, but you know, of the warriors, what is expected?
On the spiritual note, we're going to have to just deal with the people that are on the page. You know, since the so-called Native Americans think that we should go back to Africa, and the so-called Europeans think we should go back to Africa, and some of the so-called Japanese think we should go back to Africa, and the so-called Koreans think we should go back to Africa, even though everybody came here and found us here. I ain't going to say maybe y'all should go back where you came from. You know, even our Mexican brothers on some, why don't y'all go back to Africa? It's like, okay, you must be more Spanish conquistador. You must be more your Spanish conquistadorian fathers than you were your melanin-rich, so-called copper-colored, so-called black mothers or grandmothers or great-great-grandmothers. If they go far enough up, they'll find them sisters. However, all these people are on some whole other. We can't help people that don't want to help themselves, and we can't help people that think that we're the enemy in the midst, and we've never been the enemy in the midst. It's like they say in the so-called Bible, the light was in the world, but the world perceived it not. We're here. You don't want to see us for what we are because you're buying into bullshit. Most of the people that have ever encountered our people have not had a problem. Oh, there have been a couple of instances where, you know, our people have been jumped on by their people, and some of their people might have been jumped on by our people, but it is still a rare occurrence. And if that is the case, it's because you came over here and made us crazy. Now, if they back off for a minute and give you guys an opportunity to think, to yoke in, which means yoga, go into a yoga posture and yoke in and breathe and connect, reconnect by repositioning your kundalini and chakras and get back in alignment, then you can connect to the cosmic, because we are cosmic beings. We're connected to the cosmic. We're connected to the planet. That's why everybody's dying, because they've got us so disconnected now that we can't hold down the grid anymore. You know what I'm saying? We're the holders of the grid. We're like the light keepers here. Melanin and so-called what they call blackness is really all light. It's all light. If you take all the different color crayons of the damn rainbow and you blend them all together, you'll wind up with all the different colors of the rainbow, which is the whole light spectrum, and eventually you're going to wind up with what people currently identify as black. So our people are, and the darker the better, but again, we're on some whole other stuff because some of us are on these drugs now, some of us are on this whole other stuff now. But when we link back in through yoga, which means to yoke into yourself and get back online and sync up with the cosmic, then we can do it. Kind of like the brothers in the Georgia prisons now. You know, ain't nobody talking about them. Now, inside the Georgia prison, and I can't remember which one it was, everybody was being mistreated and abused to no extent. And this is where everybody's screwing up. It's like, well, they're just black. Who cares? They're just niggers. Nobody gives a damn what happens to the niggers. You better give a damn what happens to the niggers because that's why everybody's in trouble now. They dropped the ball. They don't seem to understand logic and reasoning. Ain't that the stuff they teach? Don't they know about the slippery slope? When you let this ball start rolling down this damn hill, don't you understand it's going to wind up on your doorstep? I mean, they don't understand that this shit is going to wind up on their doorstep. They think that it's okay. See, a lot of the things that this inbred, power-hungry entity, these Judases, the one thing that these Judases rely on is the so-called racial agenda that they've instilled in these pale-skinned, pale-complexion people that currently identify themselves as white and superior. They know we can try and test everything that we plan to do to all these people on these melanin-rich people because ain't nobody going to give a damn. It's like, they just niggers. Who cares if they beat up their kids? Just like that baby that got burned, another Holocaust ritual. Just like that baby that was in the house, her father had just put her down. I forget what state this was. He left the room for a minute. The next thing he knows, she was on the sofa at one end. I think his mom or somebody, her grandmother was on the other end of the sofa, and the police came kicking down the door looking for the wrong house. Now, people that have a heart felt for that baby all over the world. But, you know, when you look at the comments that these stupid-ass Europeans make, and I hate to call people names, but I'm talking about the ones that make these stupid comments. Well, who cares? It's just another nigger. That's just one less monkey on the planet. You know, this kind of nonsense that they're saying. You know, that's one less mouth that we got to feed on the damn welfare rolls. It's like, yeah, okay. You keep thinking that if you want to, because the fact that you allowed them, they tested on us. Now, the brothers in the prison right now, they had rallied together because of the massive abuse they were undergoing in this prison. And it wasn't just the melanin-rich inmates. Our Mexican brothers was going through it, and the European brothers was going through it. So they all unified across the racial divide in this prison. And when they opened up the bars and said, hey, everybody come out to work, all the inmates closed the doors back. None of them went out to work. What they've done is, and I got an email about this, I think on the 19th, 18th, 37 of the inmates, which I'm sure are the melanin-rich ones, are missing. Nobody knows where the hell they've disappeared to because these people, these control freaks I'm talking about, that are testing the waters on them, have absconded somewhere with them. And I'm sure wherever they are now, one of the brothers, he was being beat. He got, like I said, the dog pack canine mentality, acting like a canine. About 5 to 6 of these guards and officers beat at least one, and I know it was more than one brother, with hammers. It's like you trying to kill this brother. And all he's asking for is the same thing our people have ever asked for. Can you at least be just and try to be a little bit level and even in how you treat people? But I'm sure they probably didn't do it to the Mexican brothers, and they probably didn't do it to the European brothers. Why? They're trying to keep that racial divide going, because if they can keep the racial divide going, well, we ain't doing it to us. It's just the niggers. We don't care. Well, they ain't doing it to us. You know, we the Rostas. You know, La Raza, the race. That's them. That's their problem. No, it's going to be your problem. If you're in America and these people get their way, shit, y'all going to feel like you're in Kosovo or damn Rwanda running around here. We better ask somebody. It's going to be a big mess, and unlike in some of these places, the Europeans of Europe don't think that highly of the Europeans of America. They think they got their nerves, that they're too haughty, and that they're ignorant. And that people need to pay attention to what some of these Europeans in America or in the United States, they need to pay attention to what is being said about them by the Europeans overseas. Seriously. Our people are the ones that are going to make stuff happen, but what we need to do as a people, and I'm talking to my brothers, we cannot and must not, as much as everybody's going to try to incite us into rebellion and riot and stuff like that, that is going to be so that they can attempt